leaderboard! I made a leaderboard! Welcome to the 4th House Protectors Devlog. Now, you always ask, where is the leaderboard? But you never ask, how is the leaderboard made? So I found this website that hosts free leaderboards that I could easily integrate into my game. So when you die, it saves your score in the leaderboard, and you'll be able to see that on the main menu. And because this is an online leaderboard, you'll also be able to see other players' scores. I made this by setting up what's called a widget, which is essentially just UI in Unreal Engine. And in here, I could choose how the scores should be shown. And by using this blueprint code, it checks for the latest scores when you go into the main menu. I'm thinking of adding more options to this leaderboard, but for now, this works fine. When I finally got the leaderboard working, it almost made me so happy I want to jump. Made me want to jump. I implemented an actual jumping animation for my player now. Now the game simply checks whether the velocity of the player is going up or going down, and then it changes the sprite depending on that. I think it's important to have that animation because I could imagine a lot of players wanting to see something different when jumping. In fact, I think jumping is so important that I implemented something called Coyote Time. So I made what most developers call Coyote Time. We all know the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner cartoon. Oh well, at least people who have watched all the cartoons know it. In a lot of the episodes, we see the coyote getting tricked so it runs off a cliff, which is actually pretty crazy now that you think about it. But the thing is, the coyote don't immediately fall down. It has a few seconds before that happens, for comedic effect. Now this effect is actually used in a ton of 2D platformers. So what this means is that when you run off an edge with your player, you have a short amount of time to press the jump button, even after you've fallen off the edge. This makes platforming feel way more smooth and easier to control. I mean, it'd be pretty annoying if you fell off a block because you didn't think the controls were consistent. And falling off a block could result in you taking damage, and therefore losing health. Wait, what? Just looking at the number 3 while thinking, this is my health. It's extremely boring. So shout out to Hjalte for creating these awesome pixel art hearts. Pixel art hearts. What? So now you can check on your health a lot faster than before. And actually, if you lose health, you are not doomed anymore, because the player now gains 1 heart for every 25 rounds. Which may sound like a lot, but right now, it isn't that hard to get to round 25. By the way, when you reach round 25, you might have realized something at that point. You see, I've created a day and night cycle. It doesn't really do anything crazy other than being visually pleasing and changing the light intensity. The rotation was pretty simple to do. So I have a sun and a moon attached to a spline that I made into a circle. And then I set the sun and moon to keep its local rotation. Then I simply have the spline rotate at a constant speed. And, well, that gives a good illusion of a day and night cycle. I also tried having the light rotate like it does in real life, but it came with way too many issues. So I ended up with just changing the intensity of the light. It also doesn't make sense to just have a sun and a moon. I mean, that's boring, you know? So I created some clouds to go along with them. Now the clouds basically use the same code as the main menu, so they keep a constant speed, and when they reach a specific location, they teleport back. Speaking of the main menu, remember how in the last devlog, the main ground was a little glitchy? Well, I fixed this by making the entire ground one 3D model. I also updated the scrolling position code by multiplying it with something called Delta Time. Delta Time is used to make sure things like speed are consistent no matter what frame rate you have. Now what it does is, let's say you have an object that moves like 10 on the X location every tick, which means every frame. That means every frame it will have moved 10 units. So let's say I have 60 frames per second, it will have moved 10 times 60. But if I have 30 frames per second, it will have moved 10 times 30. Now that's less, so that means that if you're running a higher frame rate, the object will move faster, and when you're running on a lower frame rate, it will move slower. And when you take delta time into consideration, it knows your frame rate, and therefore it can make things like moving an object look consistent on all machines, no matter the frame rate. So yeah, I forgot to do this in the last video for the ground, so the ground will sometimes move very quickly. It has been fixed now though. That was everything for this devlog, but I got a bunch of other things planned for the game. You can stay tuned by subscribing, because I do not know when my next devlog will release. So if you're subscribed, you won't miss it. So yeah, I'll see you in the next devlog. Goodbye.